Okay, here's a thought. What if I told you the secret to really clean indoor air has nothing to do with that fancy new air filter you've been eyeing?
Or, spending a fortune on better ventilation systems.
Exactly.
Ah.
Forget the HEPA filters for just a second. What if the key, the real key to cutting down harmful stuff in your home,
Yeah.
was just good old-fashioned pest control?
Well, that's pretty much the surprising conclusion we landed on after digging into some recent environmental health research.
Right.
So our mission today is a deep dive into these studies. They basically followed this microscopic trail right through household dust.
A microscopic trail. Okay.
Yeah, linking one of the most, let's face it, persistent pests we deal with, the cockroach, some really serious indoor air quality problems, and potentially health issues too.
And for this deep dive, we're mainly looking at some fascinating work out of North Carolina State University. That's our primary source here.
That's right, crucial stuff.
Because they didn't just guess there was a link.
Right.
They actually established a clear, measurable relationship between, how bad a cockroach infestation is.
And the amount of two pretty nasty things found indoors. Allergens and these things called bacterial endotoxins.
It really changes how you think about pest control, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Makes it seem like a public health strategy almost.
It really does. And what's so compelling is that this study, it provides some pretty definitive proof. They showed that as the cockroach population grew in these apartment homes.
So bigger infestation.
Exactly. Bigger infestation meant higher concentrations of both the allergens and these endotoxins in the dust. It's a direct correlation. Kind of frightening, actually.
Okay, so for you listening, breathing this air, why should you be worried about these microscopic bits? I mean, dust is dust, right?
Well, not exactly. The researchers are really clear on this. Inhaling both the cockroach bits, the allergens, and these bacterial endotoxins, that's been shown to provoke significant inflammatory responses in people.
Inflammatory responses, so
Yeah.
like allergies, asthma.
Yes, often showing up as allergic reactions or making existing things like asthma much worse.
And this specific idea that cockroaches are basically spreading endotoxins, that's not entirely new, is it?
No, it's been hinted at. There were past surveys, across the U.S. that found endotoxin levels were way higher in homes where people said they had cockroaches.
Okay. Self-reported, though.
Right, self-reported. But here's a really critical point. That link, the high endotoxin link, was much, much stronger in lower-income, multi-unit apartment buildings compared to, say, single-family homes.
Ah, that's a huge distinction. So this isn't an evenly distributed problem.
Not at all. It strongly suggests this particular environmental health risk hits some communities harder than others. Certain housing situations might just be better breeding ground.
Creates a real environmental disparity, potentially. Okay, but let's back up just a bit. We keep saying endotoxins. Let's unpack that for everyone listening. What exactly are they? Why are they bad to breathe in?
Okay, so endotoxins aren't actually alive. They're bits of bacteria specifically. They're part of the outer cell wall of certain bacteria called gram-negative bacteria.
Bits of dead bacteria, basically.
Essentially, yes. They get released into the environment when those bacteria die and break apart. They're like remnants.
Okay, so they're not infectious on their own. Why the big fuss about inhaling them then?
Because even though they're just fragments, our immune system sees them as a major red flag, a serious threat.
Ah,
So when you breathe them in, your body triggers this big inflammatory response. That's why they cause respiratory irritation, asthma flare-ups, that sort of thing, even though the bacteria themselves are long gone.
got it. Okay, that makes sense. Now, connecting it back to the cockroaches, they eat everything, right? Omnivores.
Everything, food scraps, garbage, sewage, you name it, which means their gut is just packed with all sorts of bacteria, including those gram-negative types we mentioned.
So they're basically walking endotoxin factories.
Pretty much, yeah. They're perfect incubators and distributors. And previous studies had already shown they shed a lot of endotoxins in their feces. The droppings are like concentrated little packets.
Right. But the NC State work, it went further than just saying cockroaches have endotoxins in their poop, didn't it?
It did. They needed to confirm that the endotoxins found in the house dust were actually coming from the cockroaches and not just, general dirt or maybe mold somewhere else.
How did they nail that down? How do you trace dust back to a cockroach?
It was some pretty detailed analysis, forensic level stuff almost. They were able to figure out that a really significant chunk of the total endotoxin load in the dust samples they collected came specifically directly from cockroach droppings.
Wow. So confirmation.
Definitive confirmation. In an infested home, the cockroach isn't just a source of endotoxin, it's likely the primary source,
Okay.
the most important depositor, as they put it.
Okay, let's dive into the study itself, the Raleigh intervention, you called it.
Well, the research was done in Raleigh, North Carolina,
Hmm.
in multi-unit apartment buildings.
Right. And they compared infestation size
Mm-hmm.
to the allergen and endotoxin levels. But you mentioned something key earlier. They didn't just swab surfaces.
No, and this is vital. They collected the usual settled dust, sure, but they also captured airborne dust, dust floating in the air.
Ah, so not just what settles on the bookshelf, but what people are actually breathing moment to moment.
Exactly. That shifts the whole picture. It's not just about touching something contaminated, it's about direct inhalation risk. And yeah, they found significant amounts of endotoxins in the air in these infested homes. They focused specifically on the German cockroach, by the way, which is super common.
Blatella germanica.
Yeah.
Right. Did they find any, patterns within the cockroach population itself? Did some contribute more than others?
They did, and this was really interesting. They looked at the gender breakdown. Get this. Female cockroaches excrete about twice the amount of endotoxins as males.
Twice as much. Seriously. Where?
It's actually pretty straightforward. It comes down to eating habits. Females just eat more. They need more energy, more nutrition for producing the egg cases, the ootheca.
Ah, reproduction takes energy.
Right. So more food in means more waste out. More fecal matter, which means more endotoxin release.
That's fascinating. It suggests that if you're doing pest control, targeting the females could have a disproportionately large impact on reducing the toxin load.
Absolutely. It gives exterminators a more refined target, potentially. It's not just about killing bugs. It's about disrupting the source of the contamination most efficiently.
Did they see any patterns within the homes, like where the toxins were highest?
They did. And again, it makes intuitive sense. They found higher endotoxin levels in kitchens compared to bedrooms.
Which is where the cockroaches tend to hang out, right?
Yeah.
Near food and water.
Exactly, even in kitchens that look clean on the surface. So
Yeah.
the highest concentration of this airborne contamination is right where people prepare and eat food.
Grim. Okay, so they got these baseline levels.
Mm-hmm.
Then what? They intervened.
Right. They moved into the intervention phase. They took these infested apartment homes and split them into groups. Some were left untreated as a control.
And the others.
The others received professional extermination treatment.
Okay, so this is where we see if getting rid of the pests actually cleans the air. What happened? Say 3 months, 6 months later?
The results were pretty stark. The smoking gun, really.
Yeah.
The untreated homes. Consistently high levels of both allergens and endotoxins. Nothing changed. The problem just stayed there.
But the treated homes.
Big difference. They successfully got rid of the live cockroaches, obviously, and the cockroach allergens dropped off.
And the endotoxins, did they go down too?
They plummeted. Significant, measurable drops in endotoxin levels across the board in the homes that got treated.
Wow. So eliminate the pest, you eliminate the toxin source, and the air quality measurably improves. Pretty direct link.
Incredibly direct. It shows how quickly things can improve once the source is gone. The contamination doesn't just linger indefinitely if the pests are removed.
Now, there was this finding you mentioned, the all-or-nothing aspect. That sounds important, especially for people trying DIY pest control.
Yes, crucial takeaway. The researchers emphasize that getting rid of the cockroaches' complete elimination gets rid of the allergens. But here's the catch. Just reducing the number, say killing half of them but not all, that doesn't necessarily lower the allergen or endotoxin levels much, if at all.
Really? Why not?
Yeah.
Fewer cockroaches should mean less stuff, right?
You'd think so. But the ones left behind, they keep eating, keep pooping, keep reproducing. They deposit new allergens and endotoxins constantly. So even a smaller population can keep the concentration high enough to still be a health risk.
So half measures don't cut it. You need to actually wipe them out to get the air quality benefit.
That's the operational insight, exactly. It argues strongly for professional, thorough extermination rather than just, spraying a can under the sink now and then.
Makes sense. So the study really hammered home that the cockroach is, and I think you quoted this earlier, the most important depositor of endotoxin in infested homes.
Correct. And crucially, remembering that both the allergens and these endotoxins become airborne.
Meaning they directly impact the air you're breathing.
Right. Immediately and directly. It really connects the dots, doesn't it? Common pest problem meets serious respiratory health implications. Pest control isn't just about cleanliness.
It's preventive medicine.
Exactly. Preventive environmental medicine.
So wrapping this up, what's the big takeaway for you listening? It seems pretty clear. There's a solid, scientifically measured link between effective pest control, meaning full elimination, and genuinely improving your indoor environment.
It's about lowering your exposure to these specific biological triggers that cause inflammation and respiratory problems. It's a direct health intervention.
Less exposure, better health outcomes.
Right. And thinking ahead, the researchers, the NC State team, they're not stopping here.
Oh, what's next?
Well, their next step is looking at how these cockroach allergens and endotoxins interact together. They're planning studies in animal models of asthma using mice.
To see if the combination is worse than the sum of its parts.
Precisely. Which leads to a really important question for you to think about, especially if asthma affects your family. Does that interaction, the combination of the inflammatory endotoxin and the specific allergen, actually make asthma worse than either one would alone?
Like a synergistic effect.
Exactly. Could that synergy be a key factor in why some people, particularly in urban environments with older housing stock, suffer from such severe asthma? It's something to consider.